If you ever ask people what hurts the most, they'll give you 100 different answers: losing someone, betrayal, broken trust, distance, silence. But the truth, the deepest pain comes from the person who once promised to never be the reason for your tears. This story is not about perfect people. It is about two real humans, Michael and Elena, who loved each other with the kind of sincerity that makes you believe in forever, until life showed them how fragile forever can be. And if you are listening right now, I want you to take a deep breath, because this story isn't gentle. It isn't smooth. It doesn't walk carefully around the heart. It steps directly into the memories we avoid, the regrets we bury, and the promises we forget. Michael and Elena met in a way that didn't feel cinematic. In fact, it was ordinary, painfully ordinary. A Monday morning, a crowded grocery store in Boston. Elena was standing in aisle 4, staring at a cereal box like it was about to reveal the secrets of the universe. Michael, half awake and looking for coffee, accidentally bumped his cart into hers. She turned, ready to snap, but paused when she saw his tired smile. She didn't smile back, and that somehow made him like her more. From the beginning, they were complete opposites. Michael talked too much, Elena talked just enough. Michael trusted too quickly, Elena took months to open up. Michael believed love was easy, Elena believed easy love never lasts. Maybe that's why they worked, two imperfect people meeting at the perfect time, before life became too heavy. Their first date lasted 7 hours. Not because they planned it, but because neither wanted to leave. Elena had a way of listening that made Michael talk about things he had never told anyone. Childhood fears, college regrets, dreams he had abandoned, and Michael had a way of seeing through Elena's defenses. When she shrugged and said she didn't trust people, he didn't try to convince her otherwise, he simply said, "That's okay. We have time." Time, the thing they thought they had so much of. Within a year, they were married. Their wedding was small, 25 people, backyard, fairy lights, no dramatic speeches, no expensive decorations. Because for them, the wedding wasn't the dream, the marriage was. They promised each other simple things. Listen, stay, forgive, try, love, choose each other every day. For the first 2 years, they kept those promises. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was good. Some nights they slept holding hands. Some nights they argued about the thermostat. Some nights they laughed until they cried. And some nights they cried until they laughed. They were not perfect, but they were trying, and trying was enough. Until life stopped giving them easy days. It started slowly. Stress, work, missed dates, late night arguments about nothing and everything. The kind where you don't even remember the words, just the tone. The shrinking tone, the cold tone, the, "I'm tired, not tonight," tone. Michael's job demanded more hours, Elena's anxiety demanded more understanding. Both felt alone, but neither said it. Pain has a quiet way of growing when no one talks about it. One night, after a particularly heavy argument, Elena said something she never thought she would. "I feel like I'm married to a ghost." And Michael, exhausted, replied, "I feel like no matter what I do, it's never enough for you." Silence, the kind that breaks things. They didn't separate, they didn't divorce, they didn't cheat, they simply drifted, quietly, slowly, painfully. Not because they stopped loving each other, but because life made them forget how to love each other. But everything changed the day Michael collapsed at work. It wasn't fatal, not yet. But it was serious, a heart issue they never knew existed, stress-related. Elena arrived at the hospital breathless, terrified, and suddenly aware of how fragile he was, how fragile everything was. She held his hand even when he was asleep, whispered apologies he couldn't hear, and made promises she wasn't sure she knew how to keep. From that day forward, Elena tried again. She cooked his favorite meals. She held him when the anxiety hit. She stayed awake on nights when he couldn't sleep. She stopped waiting for him to guess what she was feeling and started telling him. And Michael, he softened. He slowed down. He took each breath more seriously. He loved Elena with the gentleness he had forgotten. But sometimes, when you fix a broken vase, the cracks still show. They healed, but they were not the same. And then came the biggest test, the one that pushed all their old wounds to the surface. Elena got pregnant. Michael cried when she told him. Not out of fear, out of overwhelming joy. He felt like life was giving him a second chance, a new beginning, a reason to stay alive. Elena, however, felt something different. Something darker. Fear. Deep, paralyzing fear. She had wanted a child, yes, but not now, not when their marriage still felt fragile. Not when she feared losing Michael. Not when she wasn't sure she knew how to be a mother. Pregnancy changed her. Her hormones, her emotions, her fears, all intensified. She became quieter, more distant. Sometimes she cried for hours without knowing why. And Michael, instead of understanding, felt rejected. He wanted to help, but didn't know how. He worried every time her breath hitched. He Googled every symptom. He held her hair when she threw up. But the one thing she needed most, stability, he couldn't give, because he himself was falling apart inside. But the truth was, both were hurting, both were scared, both were trying and failing at the same time. In the 7th month, Elena lost the baby. The world stopped. She blamed herself. Michael blamed himself. Both were wrong, but grief doesn't care about logic. It only cares about breaking you where you're weakest. For weeks, Elena didn't talk. She didn't sleep. She didn't eat. She didn't exist, not fully. Michael stayed beside her every night, begging her to speak, to cry, to scream, anything. But grief had sealed her shut. Michael felt her slipping away like sand through his fingers. And then came the night that broke him. Elena whispered, barely audible, "Maybe God never wanted us to be parents." Michael held her, but something inside him cracked. The months that followed were slow torture. Therapy, doctors, recovery. Some days were manageable. Some days were unbearable. Some days they felt close again. Some days they felt like strangers living in the same house. But love, even damaged love, has a way of surviving if you don't give up. And they didn't. They tried again. Not for a child, for each other. They learned each other again. They talked more, listened more, argued less, understood more. They rebuilt slowly, cautiously, like holding a glass heart. For a while, it worked. Until Michael's condition worsened. Another collapse. This time more serious. This time life-threatening. The doctor's words hit like a storm. He needs surgery immediately. And even then, we can't promise anything. Elena grabbed Michael's hand as tears blurred her vision. "Don't leave me, please. We've already lost enough." Michael looked at her, exhausted but smiling softly. "I'm not leaving. I just need you to believe that I'm coming back." He went into surgery. Hours passed. And then, more silence. When the doctor finally came out, his expression said everything. Michael didn't make it. Elena's world shattered. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, like a soul folding into itself. She went home to their empty house. His mug still on the counter. His clothes still in the closet. His shoes still by the door. His handwriting still on the fridge. His scent still on the pillow. His promises still in her ears. For days, she could not speak. For weeks, she could not sleep. For months, she lived like a shadow. But grief, like love, changes shape with time. One night, she sat on their bed with a letter she had found in Michael's drawer. It was addressed to her. She opened it with trembling hands. "If you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to say goodbye. So listen carefully. Our love was not perfect, but it was real. We hurt each other, but we also healed each other. We broke, but we always tried to rebuild. And if life gave me 1,000 chances, I would still choose you every single time. Please don't spend your life grieving me. Love again, live again, smile again, but don't forget me. Just remember me in the good moments, the mornings, the laughter, the quiet rooms. And remember, we promised to choose each other every day. So even now, even from here, I choose you. Always, Michael." Elena read the letter until her tears ran dry. It didn't fix her pain. It didn't erase the past. But it reminded her of something she had forgotten. Love doesn't end when a heartbeat does. It stays. In memories. In promises. In the way you breathe after losing someone you can't live without. And that is how Elena learned to live again. Not because the pain disappeared, but because Michael loved her enough to leave her with hope. If this story touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to Real Life USA Stories. Every heart has a story. Thank you for listening.